Okay. All right. In five, four, three, two, one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Junior Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Ro Thompson. And of course, as always, we got a very special guest in the building. And I'd like to introduce to you all Mr. Doc Sales. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ro. How are you, sir? And thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you are welcome, man. You are welcome. And Doc, I just wanted to say that it's great. You and I, we've been communicating back and forth for a little bit about some camps and that kind of stuff, and we were trying to put some stuff together. So, man, it was a pleasure to get you live on the podcast tonight.
And I'm happy to be here. It was on my to-do list.
Great. So, listen, before we get into all the performance coaching and the golf stuff, give us a little background about yourself.
Oh, okay. I am most proud of the fact that I play to a 6 handicap.
Okay. Good.
I'm a golfer.
But I mean, you play pretty good then.
I play a lot, and my goal is to one day, very soon, to break 70. I'm knocking on the door.
Okay.
I am a university professor, retired emeritus. I do neuroscience. I studied neuroscience. I did a deep dive, and I'm still in the water. I have not come up for air yet. I love the research. I love the application, and I love the fact that I'm doing something that no one else is doing in the psychological dimension of golf performance. Got my doctorate, University of Minnesota, professor at Indiana University for 36 years, been retired for about a year and a half. I have worked as a consultant in professional sports, collegiate sports, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, professional golf, professional tennis, NCAA, lots of schools. My teams have won championships, Super Bowls, all this stuff, NBA championships. Met a lot of celebrity athletes, Tiger, Venus, Serena. It's been a long journey, and it's been wonderful. And in retirement, I decided that I was going to work exclusively in golf. And the best reward I could get was I've been doing the PGA clinics here in Indiana for a number of years. But write this down, everyone. If you're going to go to the PGA show on the 25th of January, I will be presenting at the PGA show in Orlando at 11 a.m. And I'll be talking about, mental resiliency, neuroscience, and its applications to golf. What I do is I teach people how the brain works. And when you find out how the brain works, I guarantee you will stop doing what you're doing. Coaches will stop coaching the way they coach. Right. And my sessions, when I work with athletes or coaches, are interactive. I don't teach. I don't talk. I show you. I take you through some exercises. And they say, wow. Yeah. So that's what I do. So I'm a little different. And then there are 3 things that I do. I do the neuroscience, the application of neuroscience, applied neuroscience. And then I do high performance analytics where, greens and regulation, saves, putts, because the brain subconscious wants an activity. It wants a goal. So we give these quantifiable goals, performance goals. And then the last piece is we apply those performance goals and neuroscience to performance psychology in 3 areas. And that is pre-tournament preparation, pre-shot routine, post-shot routine, and that walk to your shot. And that's where people come undone. After they hit the shot, there's a post-shot routine, and then they walk to their ball. And that's when people become unglued. And I teach them how, disciplined thinking. That's what I do. I teach them disciplined thinking.
Yeah. See, when you talk about neuroscience,
yes.
We getting deep into the brain
function,
the interworkings of everything, right?
Absolutely. And you would be surprised the things that people do that unhinge their game, and then I can get them back by teaching them how the brain works, and then teaching them how to perform in light of how the brain functions. And you'd be surprised what people are doing that sabotage their game. And I've got dozens of brain teasers that I do with my clients and when I do my seminars with coaches.
That's great, Doc. That's great. So now, Doc, what led you into the field of neuroscience, performance, all of that? Give us a little background on that, how that happened.
Well, my first job, I taught at Chicago State University. I got that job in 1976.
Okay.
And I replaced the tennis coach.
Oh,
And I got his office, got his classes, and I was playing tennis at that time. So they, the athletic director and our department chair were the same person, and he asked me to coach men's and women's tennis. So I said yes. I'd never coached before. So I read the books and I went to conferences, coaching conferences, and I walked into a room on mental toughness and sports psychology. I only had my master's at the time. And you talk about a session turning me glued to this guy's every word. I reached out to him and we became friends, as a matter of fact, because I was really, really, really drawn into sports psych.
right.
So I went back and got my Ph.D. in kinesiology with a concentration in social psychology, because that's the way it was offered. And but I did the performance psychology. So I get this job at IU, and we bring in this Harvard-educated neuroscientist named Dr. Jill Taylor.
Okay.
And they parked her in the office next to mine.
Oh,
And we were colleagues, but she was a brain scientist. She did the neuroscience and I was performance psychology.
okay.
I flipped it, man. Lots and lots of conversations. And she answered my questions. She was just a dear. And that was the beginning of the journey. And then she put me in, she gave me books to read, and she gave me, lots of things to do to develop my neuroscience background. And I'll be honest with you, that was way back. I got there in 86, 90, I think. But ever since the early 90s, and I've been doing it, and I've been just reading the research, the latest research. And then I kind of developed my own theories with regard to the application of brain physiology and brain function to sports performance. And so I did that, and I was able to turn a lot of people around almost immediately. That was the part that amazed me, almost immediately. And within, I have a client down in Montgomery, Alabama. When I met this girl, she was shooting in the 80s, a junior. And then within a few months, she was in the 70s. And then 2 months ago, she shot a 68.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. She
That's
had the talent. And athletes, they've got the talent. They do the work,
right.
But they just can't perform. And I teach them literally how to get out of their own way. I mean, literally by following the way the brain works. And it's fun. It's fun to see it. And we do it it's fun to see, it's fun to do. And it's not a lot of science. It's the application of the science. And that's what makes it fun.
All right. That's great, Doc. That's great. Now, Doc, give us, who are some of your clients that you've been able to help, or that you currently help? And I know you gave us an example of the junior player, but who are some of your past clients?
Well, I have met Venus and Serena and Tiger, all the guys,
Okay.
We've had conversations. When Tiger came here to Indianapolis, I reached out to him. We met, we had a conversation. He had a sports psychologist on his team. So, and I gave him some questions, and, he was taken care of. Venus and Serena, I met with their team. I met with their father, the manager, Oracine, and the Williams dad were together at that time. This was long, long time ago.
Right.
Man, I was with the Colts for 11 years. I was with the NBA for 4 years, Major League Baseball for 4 years. With the NBA, all of the rookies for a 5-year period, all of the rookies,
Right.
and I mean, too many to mention. But I'm working with, right now, my current clients are the national golf team of Barbados.
Okay.
I'm working with a number of kids here in Indiana. We've won our state title, both boys and girls, as well as the state AM. My clients have won in Kentucky. My clients have won the high school title in Tennessee. I can just go on and on. I don't want to mention names, to be honest with you. I can't remember their names, but
Right.
I enjoy working with these kids. And what really bothers me more than anything?
What's that, Doc?
Once you get it, you don't need me. And I miss these kids sometimes,
But I love it. Doc, I got to stop you right there, because when it comes to coaching, or, the neuroscience, the swing coach, see, I have to disagree with you about they don't need you anymore, because, coaching or training of the brain or coaching of the swing is really ongoing, Doc.
And it is, but it's kind of like this, once you learn how to ride a bike, You cannot ride a bike for years and you can get right on and keep riding. Trust me when I tell you.
But see, Doc, golf is different though, Doc.
Yeah, and you're right, because okay, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's on the LPGA tour.
Okay.
He came out one of the top collegiate players, and now he's on tour. And I had this happen with another client too. It's different. The courses are different, and when you're paying for a paycheck to pay your bills, did you hear what I said? You're playing for a paycheck to pay your bills and support your family. That's different than playing for team spirit and team win-loss records for a college scholarship. And so you're right. And a lot of people find it difficult to perform with that kind of stress. But to be honest with you, the menu is the same. Being present and focusing on what's in front of you is the key. And all of those things I call, those distractions, you can't bring them to the golf course. You just can't.
True. That's true.
The brain is going, if you pay attention to that, you're not paying attention to this, because the conscious mind is linear. It can only think of one thing at a time. So you're either thinking about winning and getting a paycheck, or you're thinking about moving that ball down the fairway, but you can't be thinking about both.
Right. Now, Doc, I got to ask you a question. I think I know the answer to this.
Okay.
Why did you shift to just golf only?
I'm retired, man. I I got tired of travel. Man, I was going to Europe, Canada. Man, I was going down to Nassau, Bahamas and everything. Now when I go, okay, I kind of took this from Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
If you bring me in, part of my contract is a round of golf. When the San Diego Chargers brought me in, I played out there at Torrey Pines.
Yes,
right. I played Torrey Pines. Yes, I did. Every time. If I go up to Northern or up to Wisconsin, you got to put me on Whistling Straits. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Here in Indianapolis, I would say our top course is the Brickyard. And I've got about 20 passes to play the Brickyard. I got 20 of them. You see what I'm saying?
You got to use them, right?
Yeah. I love golf. It's my sport. I love it. I play it. And I knew I was just going to bring it in, and just focus on the golf industry and have some fun, man. I wasn't going to, I was going to play. I was going to travel.
And that's it.
That's it. I just love the game, man. I love the game.
All right. So let's get into a little bit of junior golf, because we got some listeners that's going to be watching this, parents and juniors.
Okay.
And so Doc, typically you have really good players out on the course. Talk to us about, why do you think they struggle though sometimes?
It's the nature of the game. It's like baseball. I work with the Milwaukee Brewers for one season. And man, one of the things that they said in the coaches meeting was, and these guys can be multimillionaires and only get 1 out of 3 hits.
Right.
Okay?
30.
1 out of 3 hits.
Yeah.
And in golf, you have errant shots, and it's competitive. And those errant shots compounded with philosophy of, when I hit an errant shot, I'm not winning. If I hit an errant shot, I'm not beating that guy, compounded by parents and coaches, win, 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 win. And when you're on the golf course, that stuff takes you out of the game, takes you out of what we call the ideal performance state. People call it the zone. And when coaches try to give you swing advice, that takes you out of the zone. They are in an environment that sabotages their performance. And what I do is I teach them how to block out the noise and focus on what the eyes see. And that's what it is. There's just a lot of noise and errant shots. When you get upset at yourself for an errant shot, we're human. That's going to happen. But I'll give you 20 seconds to diffuse it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and be disappointed. I mean, if I miss an eagle putt, 5 feet eagle putt, I'm going to be disappointed, but it's okay. You let it go and then you prepare for the next shot. Some people just can't let it go because they attach their ego. They attach their confidence. They attach their importance to that shot. And I teach them how to separate that. It's just a game. It's just a shot. Oh, and here's my favorite one. Okay. I had a client had the yips, and I told him, look here, man, a 7-foot putt for bogey is the same distance as a 7-foot putt for eagle. It's a
Right.
7-foot putt. Okay.
That's true.
So forget about the value of the putt and focus on the process of sinking the putt.
Right.
Little things like that. Little things like that. I saw on TV years ago, I think it was a US Open, somebody missed like an 8-footer.
Okay.
And he missed it, and it cost him $1.8 million because he got second,
Right.
And how do you do that? Well, it's a 7-foot putt, man. I mean, I don't care. It's a 7-foot putt. You're thinking that it's worth 1.7 mil. I'm thinking it's only a 7-foot putt. And trust me, the subconscious recognizes that as a huge difference.
Wow.
It calms you down. It relaxes you. It narrows your focus. It draws you in. And there's no better feeling than playing in the zone, bruh.
Yeah.
No better feeling. Oh, man.
You got that right, Doc. Now,
Yeah.
Doc, what are some different ways? Now, of course, you don't have to go into everything, but what are some different ways that you talk to your clients about having a positive mindset?
And a positive mindset is important, but I don't use the word positive mindset. The word that I use is trust.
Okay.
Have a trust mindset. Trust your game. Trust your swing. Trust, you know what I mean? And
Trust
then
what you've been working on, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so that trust will lead to confidence, which will lead to courage if you experience a little fear. And all of those things together is a positive attitude. Okay, we'll create that positive attitude. But if things are not going well down here at the performance level, you ain't gonna get a positive attitude. So it starts with trust. It starts with trust. Trust your game, have faith, and then when you trust it, and I got these examples that I can do. I did this with the San Diego Chargers. This one guy, he must have been 6'9", 315 pounds. Man, I had this guy. He couldn't believe how powerful the brain was when I took certain things away from him that he just couldn't imagine just by him, thinking certain thoughts.
Right.
Okay. He wasn't able to perform. Big, strong kid, man. And he said, Doc, how did you do that? I said, I didn't do that. I just understand how the brain works. So it's not a positive attitude. It's trusting your game. That's what I teach.
That's good stuff, Doc. Now, Doc, what's your go-to advice? So, like, if you got this junior golfer that comes to you, and we need to get them from 80s to low 70s to a couple of high 60s, right? What's your favorite go-to advice?
I don't. Every client is different, but I will tell you one thing that's powerful. Okay. The one thing that's powerful. Everything that I teach converges with the pre-shot routine. Okay. Everything. Confidence, trusting your game, obviously the skill development, your swing, focus on what the eyes see. Harvey Dorfman, my mentor in Major League Baseball, was the top sports psychologist in Major League Baseball. I sought him out, and I just tell them, focus on what the eyes see. And some guys say, be present, be where your feet are, all kinds of stuff. But Harvey's favorite one was focus on what the eyes see. And the eyes, mind you, are the key that opened the door to the zone. It's a complex explanation that we don't have time to. So if I were to give that one piece of advice, I would tell them your greatest anchor where everything converges is your pre-shot routine. And then we talk about the individual components, but that's the key, because the pre-shot routine is what keeps you present. It makes you present. It puts you on task. And when all four sensory systems, what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're feeling, and your spiritual, I'm having fun, when all of those are on the task of moving the ball to a specific target, that's when flow, the zone, the ideal performance state will just encompass you. Okay,
that's good, Doc. That's good to know. Now, Doc, you've got some junior parents that they may say, well, man, because Doc, I didn't know that this was an integral part of a athlete playing great. Okay. So you have some parents that put a lot of money in equipment. They put a lot of money in lessons, travel, tournament fees. How important would you say the brain, the neuro, how important would you say that is in a junior golfer's game?
90%.
Wow.
And there's a Harvard study to back it up. 90%. The brain runs the show in everything we do in life. Everything. The brain helps us choose a spouse. Everything. It leads the show, man. And cognitive stimulation leads us down that physical journey. What are you thinking? What do you believe? What's your philosophy? What are your thoughts about yourself? What are your thoughts about golf? Do you like your equipment? Do you like your ball? It's here, 90%. And the thing about it is, there's that intuitive side, the right brain, where you are just, you're just creative, and you're just, you're able to improvise. And then there's the left side, which is logical. And then you got to merge them and balance them, and then, come out with a game plan that determines your success on the golf course, but also your life journey. 90%, baby, 90%. This is it right here. And that's where it begins. And nothing materializes. They say, you are what you think, you become what you believe. And whether you think you can or think you can't, you are absolutely right.
I heard that before, Doc.
Yeah. So, if you can think it, you can do it. You just got to find a way. And with all those resources, it makes it easier. The travel, the money, the coaching, and, and all that stuff. It makes it, it makes it possible.
And you know what's so crazy, Doc? It's probably the one thing, because a lot of parents are like, man, I'm giving my kids everything. I'm giving them the lessons. I'm giving them this. And what we're talking about tonight is probably the one thing that could alleviate a lot of frustration. It could kind of get the kids competing on a high level, on a higher level. And so, and so, Doc, the other piece is the expense part of it. Of course, there's an expense with it. And I think some parents just gotta, you gotta come to grips with, it's just another part of the process that's going to make your kids get better, get that scholarship, put them in a winning position at the tournaments that we're going to put them in. So what do you say to the parents out there that's maybe a little hesitant to pay the price for that next level thinking?
Now you're getting into my scholarship. I didn't tell you, but I've published 9 books, man, and I'm working on number 10 right now.
You didn't tell me about that, Doc.
Yeah, the book that I'm writing right now is everything that I've learned about golf on, neuroscience and neuroplasticity and all these things. There's no getting around it. The cost and the negative thing is the sport is cost prohibitive for about 99% of people in the United States. So now I'm going to share with you my lecture notes. It costs a family approximately between $75,000 almost to do that tour thing. Okay. And most families are not even making that kind of money, much less have the resources. So unless you have sponsors, a lot of these kids are not going to be able to play at the highest levels. Now I'll tell you something. This is really, really, really true. I think any kid can get a college scholarship, and you don't have to be exceptional, one of the best kids in the country. You can be shooting in the high 70s, low 80s and get a college scholarship. It's not going to be a D1 school, but you can play and get and be well enough to pay for school. But let me tell you something, man. Fewer than 1% of those kids, and now we've got golf tours all around the country because I'm working with some kids on the LPGA tour and the LPGA minor tour. We got a lot of talented golfers out there, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. They will tell you, if I had the money, I got to work to pay my bills, to pay my rent.
Right.
And if I could train instead of having to work, I could probably be better.
Right.
My parents don't have the money. So these are kids that played collegiate golf and were able to just go to class, do their work, and be a golfer, and had career low rounds in the 60s and stuff. And then when they're out on their own, it takes a while for them to learn how to be a professional because those courses are different, the game is different. So yeah, it is a financial investment. But I'll tell you what one guy told me. He was from Louisville, and he said, you can pay for it now, or you can pay for it later, but you're going to pay. And when I say later, I'm talking about the kid going to college. You understand? Yeah. You can pay for it now, or you can pay for it later, but you are going to pay. And I cracked up when I heard that because it costs about 75 grand a year. I think that's a little high. That's on the high end kids, traveling all over Europe. And I've got a young man right now that does travel to Italy and Africa and London, and he plays and he wins. Okay. Yeah, he wins. And you know the name, Ashton Nicola. You know Ashton, you know that name? Ashton's great, man. He's my guy, man. He's my little man. That's what I call him. And he, if you've got the resources to do that, he's going to be great. He's got the right. I've seen this. We played 9 holes together. This kid's got a sweet swing, but let's be honest. The parents bought that swing. They bought it.
Yeah.
Okay. Aside from his own individual talent. So I say, yes, it is going to be expensive, but you can look at it this way. It is a business. The business of getting a college degree, you got to pay. The business of playing golf, you got to pay.
It's an investment, right, Doc?
It's an investment, and there is a high ROI, and it's not monetary all the time.
Right.
Setting my sons up, my sons just graduated, and they're starting their careers, and that and to see them, the pride, the confidence, I got a degree in my pocket, and I can do anything I want. I'm so happy for them. Okay, so yes, It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah,
find the money. If you ain't got it, find it.
I'm with you, Doc.
Sell apple pie.
Hey, Doc, we find the money for everything else. We find it for equipment. We find it for lessons. We find it for tournaments. We find it for travel. And this is the most important piece of it.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
and those coaches, those salaries help support their family. So when you ask a coach to do something pro bono, you're taking resources away from him. So I have to say, why can't you work with my kid for free? He's very talented. Well, I'll be honest with you. Get in line. That's all I can say. Get in line.
Right. Well, listen, Doc, this has been great. Before we get, how our listeners can reach out to you and get some of your expertise. Is there anything else you would like for junior parents or junior golfers to know when it comes to the brain and neuroscience of, getting to the point where you can play better? Yes.
I'll tell you, get in touch with me, Instagram at Doc Sales, at DOCSAILES. And just follow my content. Everything that I do is right there. And, you can follow that content, or you can DM me, direct message. I learned that one just within the last few months. What does DM mean? You can direct message me. And I enjoy working with these kids, and I am doing this exclusively. I do nothing else. I teach, I work with golf. That's what I'm doing in retirement. So I'm working out of my home. I Zoom. I got clients all over the planet, in Europe, United States, Caribbean. Okay. Thank God for computer technology. And we have fun. Oh man, do we have fun. And I am looking forward to going to the PGA show. I'll be presenting at the PGA show in Orlando this year. And I am really looking forward to it because I've been doing the PGA convention here for a number of years. And it was recommended that I go to the show because the coaches really get a lot out of my work. And so I'm training coaches, and coaches are training the kids. And if you want to work with me directly, at Doc Sales on Instagram, and just reach out. That's all it takes.
Well, good, Doc. Well, Doc, this has been great. I think you are going to save some parents and save some junior golfers from all the frustration that we could possibly have. And so, thank you for what you're doing. It's needed, and looking forward to doing some more work with you, looking forward to hearing from you, and looking forward to seeing you at the PGA show next year. Okay.
Hey, same here, man. It's a new journey for me. I'm excited, and I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm in it for the long term, man.
All right.